Yo, what's going on, my guy?
What's going on, bro?
Yo, let me tell you how this serial killer got so much ore, bro.
Aura, a term that has been being used more by teens. Definition is basically how cool you look or how much spiritual pressure you have.
Why it sound like you giving, bro, like props for killing people? Talking about he got aura, like, what is you on, bro?
You just everything yapping, bro. I'm trying to tell you like this. This serial killer is so cold, bro. Like, let me show you. Let me show you.
Nah, let me show you something. Yo, what about floating? What's going on? Bro, you gotta stop doing that, bro. Where we at now, bro? Man, if you don't shut up, I'm trying to show you about your killer. Nah, but we in Omaha, Nebraska, bro. I'm about to educate you about your serial killer, bro. Let's just listen.
Nikko Jenkins was born on September 16, 1986 to parents David and Lori in Omaha, Nebraska. Nikko Jenkins had a very bad childhood because his family was very well known with the police because his family were hair raisers.
Hellraiser, a person who causes trouble by drinking, being violent, or otherwise behaving outrageously.
And you know, hair raisers are not the kind of people you want to be around. This is a family that has deteriorated over time. Basically, they was escalating violence, drug and alcohol abuse, and child neglect. The police removed at least something around the range of 20 and 30 children from his family because of how bad they were. Something else that's very crazy about this as well is that his family members have been involved in at least 150 other cases, not including himself. So that's just 150 on top of what Nikko Jenkins already did. Nikko actually went to jail around the age of 7 for bringing a gun to school. Like, he brought a whole firearm to school, like that thing. At 11 years old, he was removed from the group home that he was placed in because he was just like a crash out.
Crash out, to go insane or do something stupid.
Basically, he was just beating on kids at the group home, and he just was like doing it consistently over and over and over again for no reason at all. So basically, this kept going on. This type of violence out his life kept going to the age of 17 when he finally went to jail again for 2 armed car robberies, which he served
9 years.
While Omaha is considered an ideal place to raise a family because of the great public schools, fun local attractions, and lovely neighborhoods, crime within the city has been a major issue. The crime rate in Omaha is among the highest in the country, with a rate of 34 per 1,000 residents.
Nah, that's crazy, I ain't gonna lie. He really came from all that? Yeah, man, it was crazy, but let me tell you some more about him.
Psychopath or sociopath. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation, and a psychiatrist concluded that Jenkins had antisocial personality disorder and was faking psychotic symptoms. After being declared competent to stand trial, Jenkins scored 68 on an administered IQ test. The proceedings against Jenkins commenced. Jenkins himself claims that he was bipolar, schizophrenic, and obsessive-compulsive OCD. A psychiatrist who had seen him diagnosed him with ASPD and was malingering, faking psychotic symptoms.
Later on, they claimed that he was a sociopath because of how manipulating he was. The part of the brain that caused him to be a sociopath was his ventral striatum.
The study showed that psychopaths have reduced connections between the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, VMPFC, the part of the brain responsible for sentiments such as empathy and guilt, and the amygdala, which mediates fear and anxiety. 2 types of brain images were collected. The modern techniques that could have used fingerprints and surveillance footage to determine if Nikko Jenkins was guilty for the crimes he committed.
Jenkins, age 26, arrested today on 4 counts of first-degree murder, the Kruger homicide and the murder 2 days earlier of 22-year-old Curtis Bradford. A week earlier, 2 more killings linked to Jenkins. Jorge Cajilla Ruiz and Juan Uribe Peña shot to death in a pickup near Spring Lake Park. Investigators today say Nikko Jenkins was an indiscriminate killer. Some victims he knew, others he did not.
In November of that year, Nikko had been in jail about 2 months at this time. He decided to write a letter to the Omaha World Herald. In the letter, he asked the paper to help him and the families of his victims and he writes that he will plead guilty to all charges. He writes that he wished to get the help he so clearly needs, psychiatric treatment, as the health department had full knowledge of Apophis and the demonic forces at work. Yes, this is real life. In February 2014, Nikko filed a federal lawsuit seeking $24.5 million from the state of Nebraska for wrongfully releasing him from prison and not giving him mental health treatment. He also blamed corrections officials for the 4 murders he committed. Oof, that's not going to go over well.
Portray Nikko Jenkins as a cold-blooded killer, but his wife says he never got the help he needed.
And his psych evaluation shows he needed mental help as early as the 2nd grade. That's when he says a voice told him to bring his mom's gun to school. A voice Nikko now says is an Egyptian demon forcing him to kill.
He's not pretending to be crazy. He's real life crazy. That Apophis gives him orders.
Nikko told her Apophis saved him from attempting suicide in solitary confinement a few years ago.
It was this voice that came and was just like, if you do what I tell you to do, if you follow my demands, then I'll make sure you're safe and make sure you're okay.
Now, at this point you're probably thinking, judging by his upbringing, the time he spent in prison, his crimes, the interrogation footage, the letters, Mother of God, this poor man, he never got the help he so clearly needed. The system failed him. He never got any treatment for the issues he so clearly has. This was a complete failure of the health system. Well, twist.
Robin Brandy, we've heard it before. An Egyptian god speaks to Nikko Jenkins, but a psychiatrist in court today says he thinks Jenkins is faking it, while another doctor from Douglas County Corrections testified of all the people he's evaluated, Jenkins is by far the most dangerous.
You wouldn't want to mess with Nikko and be on his bad list, I'll tell you right now.
After the judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation of Nikko Jenkins, the psychiatrist concluded that he had antisocial personality disorder and was likely faking psychotic symptoms, and that he was making up the voices he heard as a way to justify his actions, essentially finding that he's a sociopath who would not be amenable to treatment.
His defense's doctor says he's schizophrenic, while Lincoln Regional Center doctors say he's got a personality disorder, but he isn't clinically insane. Jenkins says he heard the voice of an Egyptian god while carrying out the murders. The 31-page report entered into district court details dozens of evaluations of Jenkins at the Lincoln Correctional Center and his history from a child through adulthood. Clinical psychologist Kurt Newring with Forensic Behavioral Health reviewed the report and says there's a pattern of antisocial behavior.
That's not part of the is he competent or is he not, but it resonates pretty clearly in the evaluation that this is a man that has, over his lifetime, manipulated others, deceived others, abused others, and has taken satisfaction in doing that. It seemed, based on the report provided, that these symptoms came up when he needed them and disappeared when he didn't.
Jenkins was convicted of the August 2013 killings of Juan Uribe Pena, Jorge Cajigaruiz, Curtis Bradford, and Andrea Kruger. On the evening of September 3rd, Jenkins confessed to all 4 murders during a rambling 8-hour interview. Jenkins told police that the acts were sacrifices to Apophis, a deity in the ancient Egyptian religion. He was charged with 4 counts of murder following the confession.
In May 2017, 3 years after he was found guilty, the delay was essentially the multiple psychiatric evaluations he had, Nikko Jenkins was sentenced to death by a 3-judge panel. He was also sentenced to 450 years in prison on weapons charges connected with the murders. Seems a bit like overkill, but
Defendant's commission of these 4 murders over a 10-day period is one of the worst killing sprees in the history of this state. Each one of these murders was a deliberate and planned act. The victims were pre-selected and the murders were purposeful. Therefore, this panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant. It is therefore the sentence of this court as follows. At case CR 13-2768, count 1, murder in the first degree, a class 1 felony, death. Count 2, use of a deadly weapon, firearm to commit a felony, a class 1C felony, 45 to 50 years to run consecutive to all murder convictions at counts 1, 4, 7, and 10. Count 3, possession of a deadly weapon by a prohibited person, Class 1D felony, 45 to 50 years to run consecutive to all murder convictions at counts 1, 4, 7, and 10, and count 2.
Nikko Jenkins ended up escaping the death penalty because of the ridiculous amount of things he did to show them that he wasn't mentally stable. Doing things like cutting himself and trying to kill himself.
Jenkins has since mutilated his face, tongue, and penis and attempted to hang himself at least twice. He also swallowed a set of keys.
From the prosecuting side, it was very easy to put Jenkins in jail because of all the evidence he left behind him, also making it easier to push the death penalty upon him because of his horrid history. Defending him was a different story, though. In the beginning, it was very hard to justify his actions because he blamed it on the serpent god Apophis. Though people weren't believing this at first, they ended up believing him because of how unstable he was. This caused the death penalty to be imposed.
Dang, bro, that's crazy. You just taught me so much. Like, I see why you was saying that. Yeah, bro, I've been trying to tell you, bro. But now stop saying he got aura, because that's weird and that's crazy work. Stop saying bro got aura. Nah, bro, I ain't gonna lie. He's like still got some aura. Can't lie to you, twin, bro. Like, the serial killers is still cool to me, bro. Like, I know you watch you, bro. Him up off of there, bro. He killed for his girl. I would do the same. Like, that's cool.
Yo, why you so close, bro? Back up.
Then I just... Y'all need to stop doing that, especially you think just because they kind of cool or whatever that it's acceptable. It's not, bro. Just leave it alone. Stop fantasizing over them killers, boy, before I punch you again. YouTube, stop touching my video. I made it 18 plus. Y'all have no reason to touch it no more. And I took out everything y'all wanted me to take out, which was dang near most of my video. But it's cool though, you feel me? I still manage. Not that good, but it's still cool. Stop touching my video. Stop touching my video. Stop touching my video. Simple. Just let me post. Stop touching the video.